Now I'd like to share a little bit about my journey and how I got here. I've been a real estate agent for the last 10 years. When I first got into the business, I just did what everyone told me to do. I door knocked, I cold called, I spent most of my weekends sitting at open houses just praying for somebody to walk through the front door. I was chipping away and I was building traction and momentum, and I had success, but I hit a wall. It was around my 5th year in the business, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I came home in the middle of the day. I had been cold calling for the last 2.5 hours, and I hadn't booked a single appointment. Around that time, I was working with clients that were draining me. They were just extremely demanding, and I wasn't connecting with anyone. It felt like an uphill battle, and I was exhausted, physically, mentally, and emotionally. I was tired of having doors slammed in my face and having people hang up on me. I was tired of bothering people in the middle of dinner, and I hated hearing the word no being repeated again and again and again. It was demoralizing, and I remember feeling like maybe I don't have what it takes to succeed in real estate. Maybe I'm not cut out for this job to build a long-term sustainable career. It was a low point in my career and in my life. It was around this time that one of my colleagues was doing incredibly well. In fact, he was the top producer in my office. One day out of the blue, I reached out to him and asked if I could take him out for a coffee and pick his brain. Being the generous guy that he was happy to share what he was doing. I'll never forget this. Within the first 5 minutes of us sitting down, he got an email on his phone and he said, "Jay, hang on a second." He jumped on the phone, made a call, and within 2 minutes he booked an appointment. He turned to me afterwards and he said, "That's what I'm doing, online lead generating." I was completely blown away. I mean, I had never seen anything like this. Here I was having to hunt for my next meal, never knowing where my next deal was coming from. And this guy had people coming to him. It was incredible, I was inspired, and I wanted to learn more. He went on to explain that he had hired an internet marketing company that was providing him with leads in exchange for a monthly fee. He set me up with the name and the contact info, and after a brief initial conversation where they asked me what my business goals were and what areas I wanted to target, I hired them. I felt like I was off to the races. I was super excited. Leads slowly started to trickle in. Some of them I'd connect with, others not. The challenge, however, that I quickly discovered was that the leads were incredibly scattered. I mean, they were at all 4 corners of a huge geographical territory. I found myself zigzagging all over the city and spending more time on the road than actually connecting with people. Most of them were unqualified or unmotivated. Yet I saw the potential. I saw what it could be. And I was quietly watching the internet transform everything, and I knew it would have a dramatic impact on real estate. Part of the service included a monthly coaching call with one of the reps for the internet marketing company. She would call me and check in to see how things were going and to make any adjustments on her end. After a few months of these calls, I slowly started to connect the dots. I was interested in how it all worked and I wanted to learn more. This went on for about 3 or 4 months, and things started to click. Around this time, one of my other colleagues was involved in online lead generating as well. The difference was that she was doing it herself. I started chatting with her, I would ask her some questions, she would share some of the strategies that were working well for her, and slowly but surely I would start to gain a deeper understanding of how this stuff worked. I actually ordered a book on Amazon on Google AdWords. I read it cover to cover in the first weekend. That was really the turning point of starting to get serious about educating myself. I started reading more and more books, blogs, and watching online videos and tutorials. I got to the point within about 4 or 5 months where I was ready to set up my own campaign. So I set up a Google AdWords account, put together a few ads, and launched my first campaign. Well, the success didn't happen right away. In fact, it took a few weeks, but I'll never forget that day. I woke up one morning and I had my very first lead sitting in my inbox. This was incredibly exciting and a major turning point in my career. I felt like if I could do this once, I could do it over and over and over. And that's exactly what happened. One lead slowly turned into 2 or 3 leads. By the end of the 60-day mark, I was generating 1 lead a day. And by 90 days, I was generating 2 to 3 leads a day. I had a really fun phone call to make at this point. I called the internet marketing rep I was working with and I said, "Thank you very much, but I think we're done." And I'll never forget her reaction. She laughed at me. She gave me a condescending "good luck" and wished me well. I think that ended up fueling my fire, to be honest with you. So things rapidly progressed from that point on. At around 6 months, I was generating 5 leads a day, and it was very consistent. What happened after that is my production grew dramatically. I started doing a lot more business. I started showing up on the monthly top 10 list in my office. Agents began to notice. I would often get stopped in the hallway by colleagues asking what I was up to. I started getting encouraged to teach and train this stuff, so I signed up on the monthly training calendar in my office. And I started to fill a room pretty quickly. Agents would show up in droves. In fact, after the first few months of training, agents from other brokerages and outside offices started to hear about it. The word was spreading and they would start to show up. One day I got encouraged by an agent to put together a seminar. So I took that hour-and-a-half in-house training and I stretched it out to 3.5 hours where I was going to charge $100 a seat and go really deep with live examples. By now I had already taught myself Facebook ads as well, which was really starting to take off. So I put together an invite, I had a date and a time, and I invited every agent I knew and held my breath. I had no idea what to expect, and I would have been happy with a few people. Well, guess what happened? 30 real estate agents showed up. I filled the room, I could not believe it. This was mind-blowing. Don't forget, I fell into this whole world. I wasn't a professional marketer, I didn't study this stuff in college. I literally fell into this out of necessity because I hit a wall and I had to break through it. And here I was all of a sudden this go-to expert, teaching others how to do this stuff. Well, the feedback was phenomenal. I was encouraged to do more and more seminars, so I went on to host 3 more paid seminars. I started getting offers from agents to hire me as a consultant. The demand continued to grow and more offers started to pour in to hire me. At that point, I knew I was onto something and I had to take things to the next level. And that's what you see in front of you today. Using video to reach a wider audience and help more realtors just like you to learn how to generate leads online. My life has completely transformed over the last 4 years since I got involved with online lead generating. I'm one of the top producing agents in my office, and I'm ranked among the top 10% in my local real estate board. I never have to worry anymore about where my next deal is coming from. I have so many leads coming into my world that I get to choose to only work with people I like who are motivated to buy or sell. You know that feeling when you see someone's name on your phone and you're just dreading answering that phone call? I no longer live in that world. I have more fulfillment in my job than I ever have. Beyond business, I'm able to constantly enjoy my biggest passion, which is traveling. I'm proud to say that over the last 4 years, I've spent 8 to 10 weeks traveling every single year. I'm happier than I've ever been, and I have more freedom, flexibility, and abundance in my life. I get to spend more time with the people that I love. I have most of my weekends off, and I have incredible fulfillment and enjoyment in the people I get to serve and the life I get to live. And now I'd like to offer it to you and share what I've learned along the way.